Hey, fellow gun lovers. If you get a thrill from military surplus rifles, you know they're more than hardware. They're machines that carry history. Each one tells a story from a different time and place. Today, we're running through 10 legendary surplus rifles you can still find in 2025. Whether you collect, hunt, or just shoot for fun, there's something here for you. If this hits the mark, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. The SKS. We'll start with the SKS. Think of it as the dependable work truck of military rifles. Not flashy, but it's the kind of tool you can count on. It's chambered for 7.62 by 39 millimeter. That's the same family of ammunition the AK-47 uses, so you don't need a second mortgage to feed it. Most SKS rifles come with a fixed 10-round magazine. No detachable mags to misplace when you head into the brush. In many states, it's compliant without extra paperwork, which keeps things simple. Built to be issued to conscripts, it's rugged and easy to maintain. Field strip it, give it a quick wipe, and you're back shooting. Sure, aftermarket stocks and optics exist, but there's a purity to running one stock and iron sights. Load it with stripper clips, rack the bolt, and you get a piece of living history that still shoots. Expect to find solid SKS rifles for under $500 in many markets. It won't win beauty contests, but it'll work all day and smile while doing it. The M1 Garand next up. The M1 Garand, the rifle that defined infantry firepower in World War II. It's loud, it's proud, and it carries an American legacy. Chambered in .30-06 Springfield, it delivers a stout impulse and excellent long-range performance. That distinctive metallic ping when the en-bloc clip ejects is part ritual, part soundtrack. If you haven't watched a Garand cycle at dusk, you're missing the full experience. Through programs like the Civilian Marksmanship Program, you can still acquire originals. Prices typically land between $650 and $1,000 depending on condition. Yes, ammunition isn't cheap, and your shoulder will notice after a long string of fire. So, plan on a recoil pad unless you enjoy explaining bruises to your range buddies. But if you want a rifle that's accurate, storied, and brutally reliable, the Garand checks every box. The Swiss K31. Now the Swiss K31, the precision tool of this group. If the Garand is a muscle car, the K31 is a Swiss watch, smooth, accurate, and impeccably finished. It uses a straight pull bolt that keeps your sight picture intact while cycling rounds. Chambered in 7.5 by 55 Swiss, it shoots extremely well and rewards careful marksmanship. I've seen dime-sized groups at 200 yards from good K31s. They're that tight. Swiss workmanship on these rifles is top tier. The wood and metal fit like a bespoke instrument. Most K31s never saw combat. They spent decades in storage in alpine armories. That helps explain why so many survivors are in excellent condition. Ammo is less common at big box stores, so expect to pay more for 7.5 by 55 Swiss than for more mainstream calibers. Collectors and shooters alike prize the K31 for its balance of accuracy and historical pedigree. Typical market prices fall roughly in the $400 to $600 range for a clean example. Lee Enfield. When you talk about rifles that earned their place in history, the Lee Enfield sits right near the top. This was the backbone of the British Empire, serving from the Boer War through both World Wars. The standouts are the No. 1 Mark III and the No. 4 Mark I. Built like armor plate, with a bolt action that cycles smoother than most rifles made decades later. It fires the .303 British cartridge, feeding from a 10-round magazine. That capacity was double what most bolt guns of the era carried. It meant a British rifleman could keep the pressure on, while his German counterpart was still running the bolt on a Mauser. Ever heard of the Mad Minute? That was a British Army standard, training soldiers to fire 30 aimed shots in 60 seconds. It turned no man's land into a place nobody wanted to cross. I've tried it myself with a No. 4, and about 25 rounds in, my shoulder was ready to quit. The .303 hits hard. Ammo is still out there, though you'll probably be shopping online for military surplus or modern production. Good Lee Enfields generally run $400 to $800 depending on condition, but watch out for rifles that were converted to drill purpose. If the bolt or chamber is worn, you can end up with bad headspace. And nobody wants that kind of surprise. The Lee Enfield is rugged, reliable, and dripping with battlefield history. Owning one is like holding a piece of Winston Churchill's resolve in your hands. Mosin Nagant. Next, we've got the Mosin Nagant, Russia's workhorse. A rifle that's been in the fight since the 1890s and somehow keeps showing up. It's chambered in 7.62 by 54R, a rimmed cartridge that hits like a hammer. The ammo is everywhere in surplus cans, often cheaper than lunch money per round. The 9130 is the most common model. It's not pretty. Think rough wood, a bolt that feels like it was cut with a file, and more Cosmoline than a motor pool. But that's the point. It was built for peasants drafted into war, meant to function in mud, snow, or a trench full of misery. I've left mine in the back of a truck during a rainstorm, dried it off, and it still ran fine. It'll never win a beauty contest, but it doesn't quit. $300 to $500 gets you one today. Clean it well, scrape out the Cosmoline, and you've got a rifle that shrugs off abuse. At the range, the recoil surprises new shooters. I've had folks flinch just hearing that first boom. The Mosin is crude, but it's honest. A rifle that laughs at adversity. Mauser K98K. Now let's step up to a true legend, the Mauser Kar98K. This was Germany's standard infantry rifle in World War II, and it set the benchmark for bolt-action design. It's chambered in 8mm Mauser. Hard-hitting, accurate, and still available if you're willing to reload or shop around. The action is smooth, strong, and has been copied by almost every bolt gun since. A good K98K will run you $600 to $1,200. But be careful, the market is full of post-war rebuilds and rifles pieced together from mismatched parts. If you're a collector, check serial numbers and markings carefully. A true matching numbers K98K is a crown jewel. The craftsmanship is unmistakable. The trigger is crisp, the stock feels solid, and the rifle carries both precision and menace. Mine still wears the faint German marks, a sober reminder of the history behind it. On the range, it's no gentle rifle. The 8mm has bite. But in terms of accuracy and build quality, the K98K is royalty among surplus rifles. Springfield Armory M1A. Now let's talk about the Springfield Armory M1A. It isn't technically a surplus rifle. It's the civilian sibling of the M14. But it carries so much of that military DNA, it deserves a spot here. It runs on .308 Winchester. Semi-automatic, reliable, and plenty of punch for hunting or long-range work. Think of it as the Garand's younger brother, bulked up and ready for modern use. The action is smooth. It cycles cleanly, feeding and ejecting without drama. You can mount optics for precision, or run irons if you want that Cold War look. Prices land between $1,500 and $2,000. It's the most expensive rifle in this lineup so far. But you're paying for performance that bridges military heritage with modern practicality. Ammo is everywhere, and reloaders love tailoring .308 to squeeze maximum accuracy. The only downside? Weight. Carrying an M1A all day in the woods feels like hauling an anvil. Still, if you want a rifle that's as comfortable at 600 yards as it is in the deer woods, the M1A earns its keep. It keeps history alive while staying fully capable in the present. Carcano M91. Now let's move to the Carcano M91. This was Italy's backbone rifle through both world wars. It's a bolt-action chambered in 6.5 by 52mm Carcano. Not a showpiece, not elegant, but loaded with history. Its darkest claim to fame came in 1963, when Lee Harvey Oswald used a Carcano in the Kennedy assassination. That single act turned the rifle into a household name, for reasons no collector really wanted. Strip that away and you've still got a unique design. It feeds from an en-bloc clip system, very similar to the M1 Garand. That means reloads are fast, and once the clip is empty, it ejects clean. I've run the M91/38 variant. Accuracy isn't match grade, but it has an old-world charm. Think of it like a vintage Fiat, not fancy, but it gets the job done. The challenge is ammunition. 6.5 by 52 Carcano is scarce in stores, so you're either hand-loading or hunting down online surplus. On the upside, the rifles themselves are inexpensive. You can find serviceable examples under $300. Collectors often see beat-up stocks, dents, scratches, scars from a hard life in the field. But that's the point. Owning one feels like holding a fragment of Italy's wartime story, from Mussolini's marches to the mountain campaigns in the Alps. If your taste leans toward oddball rifles with controversial history, the Carcano belongs in your rack. Turkish Mausers. Now let's talk Turkish Mausers, especially the Model 1938. This rifle is essentially German Mauser DNA, reassembled with Turkish fingerprints all over it. Chambered in 7.92 by 57 mm, also known as 8mm Mauser, it packs solid power and dependable ballistics. Turkey fielded these rifles well into the mid-20th century. What makes them special is their patchwork character. Some rifles carry Ottoman script, others have Ankara arsenal marks and dates stretching back to the early 1900s. You'll often find components pulled from older German contracts, so each one is a unique blend of history. Functionally, they run smooth. My own 1938 has a bolt that cycles like glass, and it groups well at 100 yards. Feeding it isn't an issue either, since 8mm Mauser is widely available. Prices usually run between $350 and $600. That's far less than what you'd pay for a pristine German K98K. The key is condition. Some rifles show hard use, so check the bore and locking lugs carefully. Collectors value the markings most. Every stamp or script adds context to Turkey's transformation from empire to republic. So if you want a Mauser with character, without draining your wallet, the Turkish models are a smart play. Type 99 Arisaka rounding out the list. We've got the Type 99 Arisaka, Japan's frontline rifle in World War II. It's chambered in 7.7 by 58mm Arisaka, a robust cartridge designed to match Allied calibers and power. The rifle itself was built for the brutal Pacific theater. It had to survive jungle humidity, monsoon rains, and coral dust. Features included anti-aircraft sights, ambitious, if not exactly practical, and a dust cover that rattles like spare change. One of the most sought-after details is the chrysanthemum stamp, Japan's imperial crest. Many were ground off after surrender, so intact flowers bring a premium today. Handling a Type 99 feels purposeful. It's heavy, solid, with the kind of no-nonsense utility you'd expect from a nation preparing for all-or-nothing war. The downside, again, is ammo. 7.7 Arisaka is uncommon, so reloading is almost mandatory. That limits it to more of a collector's piece than a frequent range gun. Prices vary from $500 up to $1,000 depending on condition and markings. For the historian, it's a rifle that embodies Japan's wartime spirit, disciplined, resilient, and fiercely national. From the SKS and Mosin's affordability, to the Garand and K98K's legendary status, and all the way to the Arisaka's Pacific Grit surplus rifles are more than old steel. They're living records of battles, nations, and soldiers long gone. Every scratch in the stock tells a story. Every arsenal stamp is a signature from history. Whether you're buying to shoot or to collect, remember to check headspace, verify markings, and know what you're bringing home. So, which one would you add to your rack? Drop it in the comments. And as always, like, subscribe, and comment to keep this community alive.